been so far? Good?
Yeah.
The players been through here yet?
Yeah, they were great.
They just finished.
They were great?
Yeah, yes, sir.
That's being nice. Well, I can't imagine anything worse than interviewing one of those two guys. I can. Both of them at the same time.
Sarah's gotten better.
100% better.
She's trying really hard. It's very endearing.
She's been really, really, really good. Really good. Really
What was
good.
your birthday message to Paige? Today's her birthday.
Yesterday was her birthday.
What was your birthday message to her?
Happy birthday. And then 20 hours later, she said, thanks. So it tells you where I am on the list of answering her texts.
Coach, coming off a national championship, you got all these guys coming in brand new. How do you guys keep these guys grounded and acclimated to UConn basketball?
I have found over the years that the hardest thing for a team post-championship is having a balance between two things. One, because we've done it already, let's be bored during the season and wait for the NCAA tournament because that's the most fun. And they forget what a road it was to get to that point and what a struggle that is to get to that point. So we got to remind them of that and not be too cocky going into the season, but confident. The other thing that happens is they look around and a couple of the people that really got them over the hump in some ways are not there, and they start to look at themselves and go, do I have it? Can I replicate what some of the guys that left were doing? Those two things have to be balanced out. And I think as time goes on, it does. The danger is everybody that has a vision of what we looked like last April on November 4th against Louisville, they're going to think it's going to look just like that, and it's not. So we have to keep in mind what it looked like last November.
You've pulled off the repeats more than anybody else has. I'm curious, at this time of year, like, are there things you see in a team where you can tell that it's maybe going to be possible? Are there similarities between those teams that have been able to go back to back?
Yeah, each one of those repeats had returners who were able to almost carry it on their own. The D repeats were D, and knowing how to lift the tide. This particular year, based on what I've seen so far, trying to incorporate 5 new players is a lot. And we don't have a D personality on our team, so that's going to have to evolve, whoever that is. I don't know that AZ has that type of leadership quality. She has tremendous others. She leads by example. And Sarah's young, and like you said, she's finding her voice. So if a couple things come together, and when they do at practice, like when we use those two in a certain way, it looks like really, 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 really good. And then we go on these incredible runs. And then when it doesn't look good, it looks pretty not good.
Geno, what's your usual message to a player in her last season, like AZ is, and Paige obviously last year? But
see what we can put together every day. So the focus has got to be like this. It can't be this.
Is AZ there?
I would say AZ is being less what if, or less critical of herself, and more attacking in the moment and like pushing the chips in and let's see what happens. As opposed to, I know I have a good hand, but being reluctant. And if you remember in the Southern Cal game, that's how it was. Southern Cal game was very reluctant to exert that kind of, and then in the Final Four, it wasn't there.
That was it.
So
So for you, that's when that light went on.
that's when that light went on. And, you know, keeping that light on, that's the key.
What do you think is the special ingredient in creating a leader like Paige?
They're born with a lot of it. The other part is, I don't think you create them, but you give them tools. So a couple of the tools that you have to help them with are admit you're wrong. It's okay to say it was your fault. It's okay to tell your teammates you screwed it up and still be able to lead them and still be able to get them to follow you. Because the worst thing is, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do that. And you're the guilty party most of the time. So being able to admit, hey, I just screwed up those 2 plays, but I got you guys. We got to do these next 3 things. Boom. And holding yourself accountable. Most kids, first time something goes wrong, they want to look around and try to find out why. And you can lead if you're willing to hold yourself accountable.
When you look at what
You might just see it in an action that she does, something that she does with another player that's subtle. The thing that you have to do is get players like Sarah to not be hesitant because there's upperclassmen ahead of her. And that's a natural feeling. It's not, well, who am I when we have these upperclassmen that have been here longer? And so my biggest thing with Sarah is just say to her every day, you're Sarah Strong. Whatever you say, they're going to go, yeah, that sounds good to me. But getting her to actually embrace that, it's going to take a little bit of time. And she hates to lose so bad. She wants to win so badly that if things are not going right and she sees that, and it's not going to be, I'll be there when you need me. Because in the NCAA tournament last year, it wasn't, I'll wait till you need me. It was, I'm here. And that's now got to be for 5 months.
Coach, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Chelsea Sherrod, who doesn't cover the team anymore with SNY, she was on our show last week, and we posed each other this question. I told her I would ask the phrase, too many players is a good problem to have. Is that true? Or, how do you navigate? Because, we look at this team, and it's a fantastic collection of talent. So can you talk to us about that a little bit?
Too many players is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
If they can all play. And sometimes on the outside, the perception is they can all play. And on the inside, the reality is, tell me a team that has 14 players and they can all play. They can't. So it is a good problem, so it isn't. So everybody's got to buy in, and everybody gets an opportunity for the whole month of October and maybe some in November to prove that you're in that top 8, 9, 10. Then how the other 4 react can determine how much fun you have coaching them.
That's true. Thank you.
What did you think about the way that Brianna Stewart navigated this last WNBA season between injuries, trying to will the Liberty to that game 3, when they advanced the semis, and just all the ups and downs that come in a title defense? Obviously, they had special situations with injuries and stuff.
That's the thing about people putting this huge emphasis on repeat. You have the same core, so repeating should be easy. It's not. It's not. Because of how many things have to break right. So maybe if that roster had stayed injury-free the whole time, maybe it would have happened. But if Minnesota had stayed injury-free, maybe nobody would have beat them. So I think I go by every year you need to put yourself in the mix where you have a chance. And as long as you're in the Final Four in the WNBA, you've put yourself where you have a chance. And that's all anybody can expect, really. Stewie's personal year, last year I was shocked at how poorly Stewie played in semifinals or finals, I forget what. Because that's the first time in her career I've ever seen her have a bad game in a game of that magnitude. So this year, even though she was hurt and came back after that in the semifinal game, was it?
It was in the first round.
First round?
Yeah.
Where she was hurt, they weren't sure she was going to play.
She played game 2, and then she played game 3.
And she had like 30 or whatever. That's really who she is. But to expect that and every year, it's still about the quality of talent, the amount of talent that you have on the floor. Plus, she got to make a shot once in a while. That sucker missed more jump shots this year than I saw her miss in the last 7 years. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes, you get a baseball player that's hit 300 every year in their career, and then they go 2 months and they hit 210. You go, what the hell happened? It happens. So it's just part of the game, man. Whenever Stewie's playing in the big game, I expect her to play great. And that hasn't changed one iota. And I hope they get a really good coach, and I hope they put a really good team around her, because I think she's one of the great things in this city, for sure.
Are you going to miss the SNY coverage of the team?
Absolutely. And I even know if the Fox people are here, absolutely. It's going to be hard-pressed for anybody to do a better job for us than the job SNY did.
It certainly brought a lot of attention locally.
Mm-hmm. The one positive is that more people around the country are going to have access to the games.
Okay.
So that'll be a good thing.
Fair enough.
Because SNY was fantastic. As good as, I don't know how many Emmys we won doing that.
They did well, yeah.
But wasn't available to a lot of our fans around the country. And now the games will be.
I mean, you guys were better known than most of the New York sports teams were because of that.
Yeah. So if a lot of these older people have their grandkids over for all the games and can show them how to use all this equipment, then they'll be able to watch all the games.
I know they haven't announced it yet, but with the Germany game likely being relocated, just what's your take on that situation?
Is this a Pentagon question or a White House question? Am I going to get arrested if I say the wrong answer? I'm not sure. Has there been any kind of release on any of that yet? Somebody said there may be some kind of definitive, hey Maria, some kind of definitive answer today to that.
So, what qualities do you think that Paige
what qualities does Paige need in her next coach? That's funny. I told Paige this the other day. A great player can play for any coach if they want to. Now, if they get a coach that doesn't believe and doesn't have a collaboration with Paige, then that would be a difficult journey. I think there are a lot of coaches out there that would be really, really, really good for her, and she'd be good for them. But it's got to be someone that there's mutual trust. And I always say, you've played 1 year of professional basketball. Like, embrace what the pool is. Talk to all of them, whoever they are. And it's like recruiting. Recruit the person you want that has the qualities that. But at the end of the day, whoever the coach is, you can make it work for them or you can make it not work for them, provided there's a good roster around you. So I think the roster is going to be more important than the coach, even though the coach is crucial, obviously.
Then just a quick, unrelated follow-up question, but do you subscribe to the idea that good media or bad media is rat poison during the season? And how do you kind of keep that out of the locker room? I mean, as a preseason number one, do you feel that?
Well, what's media anymore? Media used to be, they said this about me on TV. Well, then don't watch TV. They said this about me in the papers. Well, then don't read the papers. Now, everything that they look at every single day is telling them something. And they are affected by it. 100% affected by it. Here's, to me, the bigger killer in the locker room. Some knucklehead, 12-year-old or 13-year-old, or 100 of them say something about a particular player. The worst part is that player's mother jumps in to defend the kid. And now it becomes like a clown show, a circus show, and now the kid feels even worse than if it was just those kids. So them being criticized on social media is one thing, and we can help with that. We can help with that. We have strategies to help with that. But when their parents get involved, that kid's gone. That kid can't recover from that. They can't recover from that.
Guys, you got like 3 minutes left.
So,
3 minutes.
Coach, one question. Where would you put her into like people you coach at that same age?
Sarah Strong at sophomore age? Well, we've only had a few freshmen make All-American, so that automatically separates her. And we've only had a few sophomores be preseason All-American and close to like preseason National Player of the Year. So that puts her in a whole nother level. So I would say there are not a lot of people that have been, but how good a player like that is really going to depend on how good the rest of the team plays.
Coach, how meaningful was it for UConn to get a 12th national championship in an already established basketball program?
I mean, you know, we try to win a national championship every year. And it gets harder and harder every year with all the things we have to deal with. So number 12 isn't as significant, I think, as the story behind it, and you know, Paige getting, our team getting it, the journey that team went through, those players together and what they went through for those 3-4 years before that happened. So the number 12, neither here nor there. We didn't tie anybody or break anybody's record. But the story of how it happened, I think, is what made it significant.
Coach, after nearly a decade without winning a national championship, what did it mean to bring the title back to UConn this year? And how did this year's team separate itself from past champions?
I think the way we played throughout that NCAA tournament was as good an NCAA tournament run as any other team's ever had. I thought maybe it was one of the most dominant Final Four runs by these particular kids, by this group. You know, we beat a number 1 seed in the Final 8. We beat a number 1 seed in the semifinal, and we beat a number 1 seed in the final. It doesn't happen very often, so I think we proved we were one of the best champions ever by the way we played.
That's all the time we got.
Well, we used to do that, you know. We played St. John's here, and I would hope that we could do it again. I know Joe and I have talked about it a lot, and we've talked to the people here about it. And we've talked almost like we just did at Mohegan about having a doubleheader here with one game in the afternoon, another game at night. You know, us and St. John's, maybe the men at St. John's. I don't know. But I do think we should aspire to play a game or two here every year, whoever it is. And I think it'd be great for the exposure for St. John's. You know, now as more games are being available, you can play more games. You know, Joe and I have talked about putting together an event, you know, like a 4-team event, you know, to play. So there's a lot of options, but I know the people here have been very responsive to that, very positive in their response. So I'm hoping that it happens sooner rather than later.
Thanks, guys.
So write about it, make it happen. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.